Hello and welcome to 10-Minute Tabletop News. I'm Devin.
And I'm Darren.
And these are the 3 biggest stories from tabletop in 10 minutes or less, so you can get back to stacking dice, creating characters, and playing the game. The D&D Creator Summit.
Yes. D&D, or Wizards of the Coast more specifically, is finally doing what most other big industries have done in the modern age, which is step into backing the influencers of their industry.
Well, I mean, this is obviously coming right off of the OGL, and one of the big things that came up of the OGL crisis is like how they aren't, working with influencers much. They do a handful of things, like they send influencer boxes. They used to do a lot in 2019 with like D&D Live.
Yeah.
They do tons of influencer stuff with Magic the Gathering, but they're inviting all of them to Wizards of the Coast offices. They're flying them out, putting them up, and having them come in, look at new stuff they're making, check out their VTT. But it does feel like they're trying to buy a little bit of goodwill.
Oh, yeah, 100%. This is definitely, I feel like, a damage control thing, which is a good thing. But I also think it's an interesting part of the tabletop RPG industry, right? Because, there are not a lot of full-time tabletop influences, right? It's not comparable to something like the beauty industry, right? But there is something that kind of happened within like the beauty YouTube industry where you have all these people, these self-made creators, but then they also kind of got like corporately legitimized by these huge companies saying that like these are the opinions that matter.
Like when Bestie gets hit up by Glossier, like you know that they've reached the next level. And that's the same thing. Like people that when they get the tab, it shows that it's one of those things that they've been kind of shown by like the largest player in the game that like their content is or their platform is the one that Wizards wants their influence on. Yeah,
and that like properly represents them, or to kind of establish some trust with the audience, like, hey, this person that you trust that we think also has some good ideas thinks our stuff is good. Yeah. They've looked at it. They like it. So it's okay, guys. You can like it too. You can trust us again. It's all right. You're safe.
But, I think this is important because I want to see what everyone else is going to do with the influencer, marketplace. Yeah. Are other tabletop RPGs going to also do similar summits? And can they actually, handle that? Can they actually, the cost associated makes it so only people like Wizards can do any kind of significant amount of like influence relations.
Yeah, that's true. They're going to hold a lot of sway in this part of it. So in the regard to being able to like wine and dine and bring everybody together.
Yeah. But what's going to come out of this? What do we get to see from creators? I'm excited to see like what happens post April 4th when they come back from the WotC offices.
Yeah. We'll get some beauty influencer dinners, Let's get it going. Come on.
In other news, there's this new, I don't know what you call these, miniature builders. Like, I don't know what you call a Hero Forge, but Hero Forge is such a name in tabletop now that I feel it's like a Kleenex.
Custom miniature builder.
Yeah, there's a new Hero Forge. Now, this was...
Whoa, is there a new Hero Forge? Yeah. Like, damn.
It's Titancraft. It was backed on Kickstarter, and it just went live this past week. The thing that makes Titancraft different, though, is that it's monsters along with minis.
Yeah, and monsters that are fully customizable, like to whatever you want. You can make a T-Rex. You can make someone riding that T-Rex. Yeah. Like, the options are way more expansive.
I think the one that I saw that was the wildest was a T-Rex with a lizard on it that is being ridden by a kobold.
Okay. I was a druid in a campaign recently where I had a bunch of apes riding on the back of a brontosaurus. So it's like, that might be what I'm doing in Titancraft. Like, use your imagination. It's so exciting. I'm so amped for this because I love Hero Forge. Yeah. I build all of the characters I make on Hero Forge. For why? For reasons. Because you just like to look.
Right. But the thing that this doesn't have, of course, that Hero Forge does is it doesn't have like a painted option.
Yeah. Which I think is Hero Forge's biggest
like value prop
asset against them, because still, I mean, to this day, like, I don't want to paint every mini. I just don't. Sometimes I just want to pay for that pre-painted mini. So once they get that, I mean, they'll be a huge competitor.
And I think this also means that Hero Forge is probably going to push into doing monsters if they see Titancraft become really successful. But still, it's really, really cool. They're all unpainted, but the level of customization that you can do on these are like fantastic.
Yeah.
I think people are really excited that they can like their wildest dreams can come true.
Yeah.
And it democratizes the idea of like 3D printing. Like usually you have to like know Blender or a tool to create a
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to have all this like very educated skill set. It's like the Canva of 3D modeling.
Yeah,
like it's just like, do you want just kind of the basics and the
right.
bare minimum and the tools, which we do.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
I don't want to learn how to do 3D print modeling.
And lastly, some news out of Texas.
Texas.
$200,000 worth of Magic the Gathering cards were found in a dump.
This is a weird story. Like the mysteries are endless. Who did it, Devin?
Yeah. Who dumped
did
all
it?
these? It was like 6 pallets
yeah.
of Magic cards.
Like 1,700 Magic cards worth $100,000 to maybe $250,000. It's kind of somewhere in the middle of that.
I think the minimum estimation was at least $100,000.
Yeah.
But because it was some of the Unity boxes, I think it was the Unity set, which is the reprints of the previous. I could be wrong about this, but they're worth $1,000 each.
Yeah, and like the big question is like, who did this? Because like if you're thinking of like Wizards of the Coast, it's like it's maybe probably not Wizards of the Coast because it's like they can afford a warehouse, you guys.
Yeah.
Like they can, if they have a misprint, like they'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Like they get, and like $100,000 worth of cards to Wizards of the Coast is not that much, but to an individual person or a store or something,
here's the
huge.
What's weird is because I don't think $250,000. I don't think this would upend the secondary market.
Yeah,
which is one of the things that people talk about with Wizards of the Coast and the value of Magic the Gathering. But why did these who got rid of these? Why was it an accident? Yeah, I asked some friends that work in distribution and logistics. Like sometimes, like if the one got water damage, like one pallet, the entire container has to be thrown out because it's considered.
It's so wasteful.
Exactly right. So whether it's waste. But no one said what it is yet. But if we find out, we'll go ahead and update. But I still, this is one of the most interesting, weird Reddit posts. It was Latin O on Reddit. It was the original one who found this. They saw you can't take things from the dump, but they took photos. And they were still in box. They went back the next day, and all those boxes had been torn up from just the trash haul, moving things around, and they're absolutely destroyed. I'm gonna go with a tragedy and spite backstory. So whenever this the real story comes out, we'll go back to this video in time and say I called it. Yeah, something tragic and spiteful happened. Well, hey, those are the 3 biggest stories from this past week in Tabletop. Thank you for being here. I'm Devin. I'm Darren. And this has been 10-Minute Tabletop News. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.